The answers were correct or wrong. And by next week, we're gonna have our first quiz, and it's gonna be regarding the first lesson, examining social life, definitions of the social sciences. Is it clear? So let's start. The development of sociology. This is gonna be our second title. After defining the social sciences and of course sociology. So how it started? Let's find out. Survival of the fittest. Have you heard this term before? Of course, a lot. Who's gonna tell me something about this theory? Survival of the fittest. Guys, sleepy. محمد أسامة.
ايوه يا مستر، اللي هي الايفولوشن يا مستر بتاعت داروينز ثيوري.
Charles Darwin theory. Evolution theory.
يس، اللي هي can be all survival for the fittest, the able for organism to reproduce and يعني يتعايش to survive.
مهاب.
Mr. The theory states that the most fit organism will be able to survive and reproduce, and over time natural selection will happen and will select for the favor of this organism.
What about the weak ones?
They will be selected against, so they will هيقلوا يعني.
So, regarding our issue here in this photo, you're gonna see there was some kind of bad economic conditions in London in the early 1800s. So, a lot of people were facing poverty. They were simply staying at, of course, not at home, but over there, laying down in the streets because there was no shelter. So, one extreme sociologist had already said, in the favor of the evolution theory, survival of the fittest, let's eliminate the weak elements of the society. Let's simply get rid of all of the weak members of the society. Of course, by the weak members, I do not mean the physical appearance. I simply mean poor citizens, poor people. Let's eliminate them in order to get a healthy society. What do you think about this saying, about his theory, survival of the fittest? Do you agree with this issue? Mustafa.
Yes, I agree, Master, because if there is dumb people that destroys society or like decrease its value, so it makes problems.
So, from your point of view,
The survival for the fittest is true.
is true. A person or a guy, or we can say a human being, will have the decision or the authority who will live and who will not. Right?
Yes, Master, when there were emperors and stuff like this rule was very common for emperors. They could kill anyone they see as like problem maker or dumb
So
person.
the Nazis were correct. Right,
Yeah.
Mustafa?
Yes.
Okay, this is your point of view. But keep on listening. Ahmad Rafat.
Mister, I don't think it's a good theory because as a human right, we cannot declare who lives and who dies. But we can reinforce the government to make some rules that help the weak members of our society to make it better.
It's a point of view. We can simply ask those in the authority to enhance their living conditions. Yasin Mustafa, what do you think? What's your opinion? Yasin, sleepy Yasin. Hmm. So guys, open up your cameras. Where is Yasin? Yasin is not here.
افتكر بس الفرق ان انا قلت لك بلاش.
Yusuf Ala,
السلام عليكم.
a nice haircut. Yusuf Ala,
البس بس
يوسف.
النضاره واجي.
Yusuf Ala, what do you think about this issue?
أنهي إيش بالظبط؟
It's a single issue we are discussing from the beginning of the lesson.
poverty يعني؟
Natural selection.
Mm.
Does anyone have the authority, Yusuf, to say who will stay in this society and who will not?
I don't think so.
Can you open your camera, Yusuf? Okay, you do not think so? So nobody had the authority, right?
Yes.
It's an action of God. Okay, Omar Tariq, do you agree or disagree to eliminate the weak members of the society? Omar Tariq. Omar. No, Omar Tariq. Deep silence. Okay, guys. In fact, this is not a good idea to eliminate the weak members or the unfit members of the society. Who are you to take such a decision to eliminate from your point of view, the weak members of the society? Okay.
So
before,
Mr.
before, yes.
So Mr. You agree with communism that everybody should be equal.
Let me clarify something. Okay. Ahmed, yes, what do you want to say?
Actually, Mr. These weak people, they are the laborers, they are the peasants who work for the higher class people who own the factories and other things. So if you eliminate them, you're not working. So you lose the whole population, whole society is down.
Okay, but let me tell you something. Before judging the people, from your point of view, before judging the weak members of the society, okay? First of all, what are the factors that led to this situation? If we are talking about poverty here, so what are the factors that made these results? Poverty, to be homeless. Okay, so instead of judging, instead of punishing the weak members of the society, first of all, let's try to judge, or let's try to ask those in the authority why it didn't enhance their living conditions. It's a point of view. I'm not telling you about what's right and what's wrong. It's only an issue. It's a way of thinking. We are discussing the matter here. We are human beings, all of us. Who can say that this guy over there must die, while the other one here, no, he will not die? Who are you? The Nazis once said that were a certain branch of people, according to their religion, or even according to their physical disability. Or even he went a little bit further. He said that, I'm talking about Hitler here, he said that anyone with a mental or a physical illness should be eliminated from the society. Who are you? Who are you to decide who's gonna live and who will die? All of us are humans. So, in our real life, guys, this is not true. This is not a way of living. For example, if I have a certain issue, let's try to imagine the American society. Maybe the crime ratio over there in the American society increased a little bit by the Chinese. Let's say, for example, of course, we're going to discuss this issue in detail in our crime lesson. But for now, if we said that most of the Chinese living over there in the States are involved in a lot of criminal activities. So, in order to solve this issue, the American authority, for example, will say, let's kill every single Chinese guy over there in America in order to solve this issue. This is going to be a practical solution. Or let's dig deeper a little bit in order to find out the reasons, in order to find out the causes why this race, for example, turned to be criminals. And let's try to figure out solutions. What do you think? Yes, Mustafa.
Mr. For example, if a citizen can't work or not can't work, but is bad at working, so he can't get salary or something like this. And more than this, he makes damage for some people's shops or stores like this. So he can't pay back. Then he goes to jail. At jail, he makes the government spend on him. So like this, he is making people spend on him, and he is destroying stuff only. So a person like this is like makes disability for the government or something like this.
Okay, Mustafa, you have mentioned an important point of view. Mustafa, and you started your talking with this guy, for example, our example, couldn't get a decent living because he's not working in a proper job, for example. And of course, the result that his income is not sufficient for him or even for his family. Okay,
Yes.
let's go deeper a little bit. What are the factors that led to bad education?
Education?
He couldn't get a decent job. Okay, maybe because he didn't get an appropriate education.
Yes.
Okay, in order to get an appropriate education, you must pay what?
Mister, but this thing, like, it needs mental more than education.
It needs mental. So this gonna mean that from and I will quote from your words that people once they were born dumb or smart, or their IQ level will be high
Uh, they're born dumb to.
from their birth?
No.
Of course not. Of course not. One of the basic human rights is simply free education. Regardless of the quality of this education, regardless of the quality, but one of the main basic human rights is simply free education.
Mister,
Okay?
for example, yeah, continue, Mister.
Continue, go on,
Yeah.
express your thoughts.
For example, someone that doesn't like to be educated or something like this, he just likes to have fun and this. He doesn't like.
All of the kids, by the way, yani it's a natural instinct. All of
Yeah.
the kids at a certain age, if you have a baby sister or baby brother, you're going to face this issue. We do not need to study. What's the benefit I will get out of this studying? I do not want to go to school. All of them will say it.
Yes.
You must simply enforce them. Even though nowadays you are a teenager, you are in grade 12, Okay, maybe at some point in the way you will say, why do I bother myself to study sociology, for example? What the benefit I will get out of this subject? Maybe you will start to ask yourselves these questions during your school life. And later on, inshallah, when you're going to enter your college, you will still be asking these questions. Why should I bother myself to study all of these subjects? I hear it a lot from students. What's the benefit of studying Arabic?
To be educated يا مستر، واللانجوج بتاعتي هي العربي، والانجليش ده لغة زيادة. التعليم حاجة حلوة.
Everything you are studying in the school, later on in your real life, you will get some benefits out of it. Believe me. Regardless of the marks you will collect by the end of the year, your GPA. But if you have the chance, if you have the ability to decide either to go to school or not, to be educated or not, if you are a very wealthy guy, you will go to school, you will educate yourself or not.
Mister, if I have money, I will educate myself without going to school. عادي.
You will buy yourself a degree.
نو مستر، انا اعلم نفسي بقى واشوف حياتي. ما انا معايا فلوس، ما انا مش لازم اطلع دكتور.
If you have that amount of money, you will be busy with your money, not
Yes.
about enhancing your mental condition, for example. You will be worried with other
I
stuff.
can enhance it يا مستر. I can enhance it عادي. اقرا الكتب اللي انا عايزها من غير مثلا ما يبقى في assignment، من غير ما يبقى في timing، من غير ما يبقى في توتر، من غير ما يبقى في قلق. فاهمني يا
Okay.
مستر؟
Who will teach you how to write? Who will teach you how to speak? The books cannot teach you this stuff.
ايوه صح. ما هو انا اتعلم بعديها اوقف تعليم يعني اتعلم. انت فاهم وجهة نظري يا مستر؟ لما اخش يعني مثلا اللي هو من كي جي 1 لجريد 1 مثلا، وانا معايا الفلوس دي كلها، فبراحتي بقى اتعلم اللي انا عايزه.
In fact, guys, it's not related to money. It's related to our mental status. At some point of time, there are some people must simply enforce you because you do not know what's your best interest. Yes? Yes, Mahmoud?
مثلا أنا عندي رأي تاني. هو إحنا لازم نتعلم وكل حاجة، يعني we need to study كل
In
حاجة
English,
بس.
in English, in English, in English, in English. We need to study. But
we need to
I think there is
study.
another but coming here, right?
But my point of view is different يعني. مثلا
Different
if I have
views?
my point of view is different.
Okay.
مثلا if I have children and they ask me a question and I don't know the answer، هيبقى يعني شكلي وحش يعني.
No, no, no,
ماليش
by the
فكرة.
way. No, not this
بتاع.
way. By the way, Mahmoud, يعني the parent, there is no need that all of the parents must know every single answer.
الدرجات دي يعني مثلا في جريد 1 و 2، مثلا جريد 1 و 2 مثلا لما يجي يسألوا لي سؤال في الساينس مش شرط أكون فاكره، بس أنا حتى مش عارف أشرحه له.
But you have the general knowledge. I think for يعني grade 1 and 2 science, I think it's general knowledge. Living and
أنا
non-living,
فاهم.
living and non-living things and so on.
أنا فاهم، أصل في حد قال قبل كده مش لازم نتعلم أو حاجة زي كده. سمعت حد قال حاجة زي كده.
Yes, Muhammad Osama. If he is wealthy enough, he will not go to school. But Muhammad Osama, regarding this issue, if you are not working on this issue, if you do not educate yourself, if you will not go to schools, with all of my respect, the huge amount of money that you have, you will simply waste it. Because simply there's no mind. Okay, this is my point of view, and every single one of you is free to express his own opinion.
مستر
Okay.
ما هو انا هنميها بقى الكتب اللي انا هقراها ما هو انا هنميها
Habibi, you will be busy with your money. How to spend
ماشي.
it, how to spend it, or even how to earn more. Right?
اصل يا مستر there's يعني بيبول في المدرسة اصلا مش فارقة معاهم التعليم اصلا اللي هم داخلين كده عشان رضا الوالدين.
But they will wake up early every day and they will go to school, they will do their homeworks, they will attend the exams and so on because of their parents, because simply we must have someone in our lives to push you to go to the correct path. Because simply as being a teenager, you do not know what's your best interest. Believe me. Later on, you will do the same with your kids. You will not give them the options either to go to school or not, because simply they will choose, no, we will not go to school. Back to our issue, survival of the fittest. The major shifts or the major changes that happened over there in Europe were economical, social, and political. Okay, for the Industrial Revolution, we are talking here about the period of time, guys, the 1700s and the 1800s. So, with the achievement in science, they started to build factories. And of course, in order to choose a site for factories, they chose cities. They started to build new cities. They used to live at the beginning before the Industrial Revolution. They used to live in towns where their main interest was farming to produce their own food. When they started to build factories, the site changed. They moved to cities. So by default, people started to leave the towns and went over there to cities. What really happened in cities was a problem because simply all of the people moved at the same time, looking for a better way of living, looking for better lives, better income. Okay, all of them at the same time, but we have a certain amount of jobs available over there in the factories. So the result was
carrying capacity.
unemployment. Sorry, what did you say?
Carrying capacity.
Okay.
Cities.
The number of the available jobs over there in cities outpaced the number of the people. So the result was unemployment. Okay, try to imagine the situation here. You are responsible of a family and you are looking for a job and you simply can't find one. So you want to feed your family. You want to put a roof over their heads. What you gonna do? Try to steal. The crime ratio increased, and also there was a housing problem because all of the population moved at the same time immediately after building factories over there in cities. Okay, so there was a major change in the European society because of the Industrial Revolution. Also in the political life, because of the Enlightenment ideas, when people started to notice, oh, we have some kind of human rights. Yes, we must be educated. We must have proper treatment from the government. We must have some kind of freedom of speech. So the result was two main revolutions, the American one and what's this one here? The American Revolution, guys, and please, guys, not let me talk to myself.
You're not
The
talking
French
to
Revolution.
Sorry?
French Revolution.
And the French Revolution, thank you. So, for the political life, there was the human freedom and the human liberty. This is the outcome of the Enlightenment ideas, and also in the social and the economic life, there was the shift or the change in the European society. Plus, there was another important revolution, the scientific one. When they used to ask themselves any question regarding any issue, they will simply use the traditional way of thinking. By the traditional way of thinking, guys, I mean they have only two sources. If they want to answer any question, they will simply go to their two main sources, the church and the ancient scholars' writings. To the church to have some religious explanation in order to get an answer, or to go to the ancient scholars' writings. If I ask Amr Hatem, who are the ancient scholars? Amr Hatem. What do I mean by the ancient
عمرو
scholars?
حاتم مع الأسف يا مستر. عمرو حاتم مع الأسف.
Sleepy Amr. Ahmad Rafat.
Philosophers.
Philosophers, thank you. Especially Greek philosophers, Aristotle, Plato, and so on. So if they want to answer any question, they will simply go to the church or to the ancient scholars' writings. So they had the fact, the earth is flat. That's it. Done. Done and settled. It's a fact. The earth is flat. Do not argue this issue. End of discussion. The earth is flat. That's it. But after the discovery of the New World, after the discovery of the America, they had nothing mentioned in their books regarding this new land. So they concluded, maybe by using this way of thinking, we will not get the complete knowledge. This is not a good way of thinking. We are using the wrong way of thinking. Let's change this way of thinking. And they started to use the scientific way of thinking based on observation. And they started to use reason. So they will start to doubt every single item in their life until proven true. And they will use the scientific way. They will use experiments to get the complete knowledge from their point of view. And of course, by using this new way of thinking, they have made major achievements at that time. So here comes a guy. What about the society you are living in? Maybe this society have some kind of rules, of patterns. This society is not working haphazardly. This society must have a system, a pattern of rules. So let's try to apply the principles and the methods of the scientific way of thinking upon the society in order to figure out how this society is working. Is it clear, guys? This is how they thought about this new science, sociology. Any questions until now? Questions? Any questions?
No يا أستاذ.
Yeah, شكرا مستر.
So it's my time to ask.
Shit. Okay.
Ahem. Okay. So you have
Mislip,
already
mislip.
taken your chance. I have already asked you who want to ask me, and you said no. Everything is clear. So I will check. Amr Hatem, where are you? Amr Hatem. Maybe he is, I do not know. Okay, I will ask ياسين مصطفى. ياسين. Maybe Yasin it was Amr, right? Yasin Mustafa. Yes, he's fixing his
Hello.
mic. Yes, Yasin, how are you?
Alhamdulillah.
I'm so happy to hear your voice. So Yasin, what are the factors that led to the development of sociology from your point of view?
السوشيولوجي بتاعت ايه؟ السوشيولوجي عامة يعني ولا؟
Sorry.
أصل أنا كنت في حمام المستر فما كنتش متابع آخر حتة دي.
Do you ask me for a permission?
لا بس كنت مزنوق يا مستر أوي فاضطريت أروح.
Okay, Yasin. Please, next time, ask me for a permission first, okay?
Okay.
And this will be for all of you guys, because simply your assessment will not be according to your quiz or even to your exam. Not only to the exam or to the quiz, it will be according to your behavior, to your attendance, to your participation. So please keep it in your mind. Okay? Mohab. Mohab. What do you think about the factors?
مش عارف بصراحة.
During the lesson, Mohab, ماشي? What we were talking about?
poverty.
Then?
مش فاكر الباقي.
The poverty was at the very beginning, right?
Yes.
This slide. What about this one? Have you ever seen this slide before?
اه.
What is this slide talking about?
مكتوب development of sociology.
And what's written in red?
Economic changes, social changes, political changes.
So, in order to, what was your question?
Factors of sociology.
Factors of sociology? Have I said that?
ايوه والله انت لسه سألني سؤال.
والله. The factors that led to the development
ايوه
of
نفسها.
Sorry?
نفسها.
Sorry? No, it's not the same. It's not the
قسم
same.
أنا آسف. The factors that led to sociology.
Development of sociology. ماشي? In order to answer this question, Mohab, you must have a look, because we have a lot of factors. We have economical, we have social, we have political factors, and the last one, the scientific factor. So in the exam, or even in the quiz, Mohab, if I ask you, what made the people thinking about this new science? Yani, for example, one guy simply slept. When he wake up early in the morning, he said, why we are not studying society? Of course not. Of course, there are some reasons, some factors that led to this new science. Get my idea, Mohab?
Oh.
This was my point of view, that I have just mentioned something, but unfortunately, some of you are not listening.
كنت بفطر بس.
I think, Mohab, it's time to have some lunch, not breakfast. Your school day is over, or you still have one more session.
علينا
Okay,
كويز.
guys.
ما انا لسه صاحي من شوية.
One more session.
انا فطرت 3 مرات لحد دلوقتي يا مستر.